LeBron James is known for his incredible talent on the court, but it's his moves off the court that have really led to his financial success. The four-time MVP is currently in the first season of a four-year, $153 million contract with the Los Angeles Lakers, but most of his earnings are not even from playing basketball. NBA reporter and ESPN and author Brian Windhorst has a new book, LeBron Inc., The Making of a Billion-Dollar Athlete. Earlier, he sat down with my colleague Rena Ninen to discuss LeBron's journey from basketball star to mogul.
You begin your book by saying it's not so much LeBron James's incredible athletic ability, but it's his awareness, both on and off the court. How does he harness that?
Yeah, this is a natural talent that he has that I don't think people would ever know about unless they got to know him. You know, when you look at him, he's incredibly athletic, but what really sets him apart, and I think what's actually helped make him a great businessman, is that in addition to his athletic gifts, he has an incredible ability to be aware of his surroundings. And I mean, he has great perspective, where even in the moment, he can understand the bigger picture.
How does a guy like LeBron, in high school, offered a $100 million Reebok deal, how does he walk away from something like that?
He knew that people were dying to be in business with him. And he was more focused on leveraging that desire than he was at getting the biggest check out of the gate. He was 18 years old, really didn't have any money. And that's what that company, Reebok, was banking on. And he said, you better have something more than the suitcase full of money. And again, the people who were involved with it had never seen an 18-year-old ever do that. You know, Nike was not necessarily going to offer him the most money, but in the short term, getting the bigger check might be worse than going with the better company long term. They were able to sign him for $87 million over 7 years, which even looking at inflation and the time still stands as the richest endorsement contract that's ever been given to any athlete in any sport coming out of high school.
How do you think it is that LeBron had such an awareness so early on?
This is, you know, even the concept that he would take the time to meet with Warren Buffett at age like 22. Just think about that. He actually went out to Omaha and sat and had lunch with Warren Buffett, who was around 80 years old at the time. The idea that you would even want to seek counsel from somebody like that means that you had a thirst to get a broader view of the world.
What did Warren Buffett have to say?
Well, Warren Buffett said that LeBron blew him away with how intelligent he was. He said, if I was as smart as LeBron at 22, I would have been very lucky because he was smarter than me at 22. And frankly, LeBron was thinking about being a billionaire at age 22, and he knew it wasn't going to be from his basketball salary.
LeBron didn't always take the risky side of things. At one point, you talk about vitamin water,
right,
a deal that he chose to pass on.
And they said, listen, we can't pay you what Coke can. We can't give you $2 million a year, but we can give you a piece of the company. But he said, I'm going to go with the Coke deal and get a 6-year contract worth more than $10 million guaranteed. So they went to other athletes, Vitamin Water, and gave them equity. And they went to a hip-hop artist in 50 Cent. And a couple of years later, really a short period of time, the company exploded, was purchased for hundreds of millions of dollars, and those athletes cashed out of equity in a huge amount. And it was one of the early moments of LeBron's career where he realized, you know, there's two different ways to make money. You can get a paycheck for doing a commercial, but if you pick the right company, you can get a piece of the company and you can profit many, many times over. That Vitamin Water situation taught him to look for those deals, and it set him up for much bigger deals down the road.
Beyond the basketball salary, the endorsements, it's clear LeBron James has built a business empire from, investing in companies. Talk to me a little bit about Beats.
So the Beats deal was a jackpot, a home run. When Beats started, they didn't have any money. They didn't have a $50 million marketing budget that they could give him $10 million to do commercials. So he said, will you help market this product for us? And in return, instead of giving you an endorsement check, we'll give you a couple of points on the company. And so what LeBron did was, this was 2008, he was in the Olympics, which was the big, huge Olympics in China, in Beijing, and he went and he just gave these pairs of headphones to his teammates. And now we're all used to seeing them, but at the time, the concept of a $300 or $400 pair of headphones that were like 3 times the size of your ears were preposterous. And had a Beats marketing person or another member of USA Basketball handed them out to the players, they might have looked at him and threw him aside. But because LeBron gave them to the players, and LeBron wore them on his head, and LeBron wore them around his neck, which became an iconic look for athletes, all of them did. And so without giving checks to any of those players, here Beats was getting this great ad time, and it helped launch the company. They took off after that. Their awareness, the brand awareness went through the roof, and 4 or 5 years later, they get sold to Apple for $3 billion. And guess who's sitting there with a couple of points on the company that he had taken instead of an endorsement deal? LeBron. He realized more than $50 million, and way more than he ever would have made if he had just taken an established headphone company and made a deal with them.
There was a move that went wrong in business for him, the decision.
In this fall, I'm going to take my talents to South Beach and join the Miami Heat.
His presentation of the event was frankly a disaster. Everything about it was unpopular. They lost business. He lost endorsement contracts. People who were previously working on things with him backed out.
Did they learn from that lesson?
There was actually a decision too. Nobody knows it because they didn't brand it that way because they're much smarter about it this time. But when he made his next really huge departure from Cleveland, when he went to the Los Angeles Lakers last summer, he actually had a decision show. But it was at his new I Promise school in Akron, Ohio, where he funds a school for at-risk third, fourth graders. They're going to expand it. And instead of having a press conference when he announced he was going to the Lakers or doing any sort of interview whatsoever, he asked everybody to wait until the start of school. And he brought everybody in there, and he got news outlets and coverage across the globe, very positive for this program he was doing for these children. Instead of saying, I'm taking my talents to South Beach, he was saying, I'm going to play for the Los Angeles Lakers, but while I talk to you about that, I want you to see these kids who matter a lot to me. And you see the 8 years worth of learning that they had. Really, the concept was exactly the same, but the 8 years worth of learning. And so you think about where he may be in 8 more years, and then 8 years after that, post-basketball, you can see why they feel like they have the opportunity to do great things.
So 20 to 30 years from now, are we going to be talking about LeBron James, the basketball player, or the businessman?
I think he would love it if it was both. I think he would love it if he could come to an arena, still sign his jersey, still sign autographs, but be in a fabulous suit and sit in the owner's box where he had control and basically a piece of the NBA, a genuine piece of the NBA. He wants to own pieces of sneaker companies, of media companies. I think he wants to own a piece of the NBA, and I think he wants to be both. And as he said to me when I asked him what his goals were, he said, I want it all.